the goal is to get to Albany and get that bill passed.
It's a long road from Buffalo to Albany, but time and distance won't keep these Western New York healthcare workers from having their voices heard. They're all members of District 1 CWA Locals 1133, 1122, 1168, and 1170. The union's Healthcare Coordinating Council is sponsoring this two-day conference of education and activism. Different jobs, but mutual concerns.
I work at Mercy Hospital, radiology.
Buffalo General Hospital, behavioral health. I'm a mental health therapist.
I'm an x-ray tech at Millard Fillmore Suburban Hospital.
I'm an RN and I work at Buffalo General Hospital.
At Mercy Hospital in the parking department.
I work for St. Joe's Hospital. I am a CNA.
We say take away, we say no way!
So I'm really hoping that little spark of inspiration comes from a really good 2 days with some training about healthcare reform and some training about being an activist. And then to take that and go the next day and to be at a rally with other union folks and to actually go inside and meet with their legislators and talk to them about some of the bills that we have coming forward mean to them.
2 bills stuck in a legislative logjam. Over the course of 10 years, passing safe patient handling has faced many political roadblocks. 10 years of fleeting promises. 10 years of ceaseless debate. Keeping the bill moving forward has taken 10 years of almighty resolve. For Kenmore Emergency Room RN Vanessa Quinn, the stalemate is a very sore subject. Very sore.
We have concerns on safe patient lifting, anywhere from moving a patient up into the bed or getting a patient out of the car in front of the emergency department. We've had, I think in the last 5 years, in the ER that I know of, at least 4 to 5 RNs under the age of 40 that has had massive back injuries that have not yet returned to work. You go home with a sore back, you take a Tylenol, and you start all over again.
And that bill provides for healthcare workers to work in an environment that they don't hurt their backs, or at the very least that potential is very diminished because of the equipment that's available now to move patients, turn patients, get them out of bed. The hospitals do well when this is implemented, and there are several good examples. The Kaleida system is one good example. They've been doing it for years.
So what's the holdup for the holdups?
It does take at least 2, maybe 3 years for a return on investment for that equipment to be seen, but it is well worth the investment.
We're feeling a little bit left behind because other people like steel workers and laborers and so forth would never be expected to lift a 300-pound workpiece. Our workpieces, though, cry when we drop them to the ground.
And then there's that issue of numbers that never quite add up.
Staffing ratios is really critical to us.
In the ER, it takes only one code to come in and it can consume half your staff at some point.
It doesn't matter how many letters you have after your name. It doesn't matter how well educated you are. If you don't have the time to see that patient, education doesn't mean a thing.
Patients sometimes have to wait.
We've had them in the ICU.
You know, you can't do but one thing at a time and do it safely.
We've had them in the OR. We've had them in the recovery room for years.
I do believe your patient satisfaction goes up as the staffing ratio goes up.
So they're not like this thing that we just pulled out of our hats saying we should have ratios. They've actually existed in many areas. There's just a resistance to put them out on the floors and say, we need these ratios to give quality patient care.
The group arrives in Utica to a rousing welcome from their brothers and sisters of Local 1126. A time of joy, fellowship,
Good to see you, man. All right, good to see you.
and workshops.
We now have a new national health reform law.
With the 2010 passing of the Affordable Care Act, the healthcare field is in a state of evolving transition. New rules mean new information.
Many other New Yorkers are underinsured
And that's where community health advocate Natalie Lutzkowiak comes into the picture.
And we have to deal with the issue of healthcare costs.
She believes that with healthcare reform, staffing ratios will no longer be an option, but a necessity.
There's going to be a lot of influx in the beginning, influx of people getting insurance, and then once they have insurance, they're going to use it. Well, with this influx of people, the hospitals are not going to necessarily hire the ratio of people that they need to the people coming in. The Obama administration and the new Affordable Care Act are trying to counteract that before it happens. They're giving more initiatives for medical students to become primary care physicians, and they're going to be opening nurse-based clinics.
Conservative politicians, lobbyists, and media figures like Sarah Palin spread myth after myth about.
The Affordable Care Act has stoked a firestorm of political opposition, pitting the right wing against the left wing, creating a monumental ideological divide, and still faces many challenges before full implementation in 2014.
For you. And so there are some states that say, we don't want to have anything to do with this.
As Director of New Yorkers for Accessible Health Coverage, Heidi Siegfried has been an ardent champion of the cause. She sees serious ramifications should the law be repealed.
I would foresee that employers, especially small employers, will probably continue to drop coverage for their employees because it's just not going to be affordable if they don't have the subsidies.
For an activist army, knowledge is ammunition.
In order to be an activist, you have to know what you're fighting for.
Director of the Healthcare Coordinating Council, Marianne Janicki, and Kaleida nurse educator, Diana Butch, supply the troops with an artillery of ideas.
We have to get the message out that when we have a good, strong middle class, it benefits everybody.
It's all about perspective.
Think about what you can do to help your labor union who brought you the weekend, healthcare coverage, strong wages, and the robust middle class.
We need them to recognize that the employer doesn't give you things out of the goodness of your heart, that someone has marched for it, fought for it, sat at a table, and some people have even died for the benefits that we all deserve today.
Talk to people that you work with, because I guarantee you there's a lot of them that you're working with right now who don't have a clue, who are listening to the rhetoric, and they're going to go and vote against their own best interests and yours as well.
It's all about protection.
Why are unions shrinking? And when that shrinks, that means that you have less and less bargaining power. There's power in numbers.
We're here.
33% refuse to negotiate a contract.
I want some money, I want some money, don't be greedy.
31% illegally fire union organizers.
Trick or treat!
50% threaten to close their business if employees form a union. 91% force employers who want to join a union to attend mandatory anti-union meetings that get you one-on-one, get you in a room and really turn up the heat on you.
All right, we're on board.
You guys are the union.
Good morning.
And if you let it slide and you don't become active and you don't vote for the right people, then you won't be in a union.
And it's all about passion.
Passion is contagious. Develop your response to your issue and express your feelings.
It's time for this bill. We've had it pass the Assembly several years in a row. It's time that the Senate gets off their duff and passes it.
And tomorrow we're going to make a difference. And you may not think so, but we are. We're going to let our voices be heard as we march around Albany. When we go to meet our legislators, even if you just sit there, you're not one of the prime spokesmen, just being there and showing that you're representative, that these issues are important to you. You're putting a face to your vote.
At Albany's Empire Plaza Center, throngs of support join the cause.
Oh, come on, you're at a rally. Good morning.
Other healthcare professionals, union representatives from New York State teachers, and the Public Employees Federation join in to help take a stand.
Your voice is important and it needs to be heard.
We want safe staffing levels so we can provide quality care for our patients. The quality that we consider you truly deserve.
And I encourage everybody to get that out there and have their voice heard.
We are sick of not having the equipment to move our patients safely, and we are sick of breaking our backs.
These men and women are empowered by their collective bargaining rights, rights which in recent years have come under attack.
Yeah! It's not really the union workers sort of against non-union workers, and that we want everyone to have a decent lifestyle as we do as union workers. We want more for other people. That's why we want to organize more. The benefits and the monetary things that we gain through our contracts, those should be an example. Those should be a floor. They shouldn't be something that somebody comes at us for. That should be the example.
Meanwhile, over in the Legislative Office building, unit members have been dispatched to lobby their elected officials. Sometimes only a thank you is needed.
They're good bills, and we're going to try to do whatever we can to get them passed. So
really,
no, thank you.
But many times, desktop diplomacy faces great opposition. It helps having CWA organizer Bill Nowak providing instruction in the art of persuasion.
So you need to be sharp. You need to be probing them. Don't let them glad hand you tomorrow. They say, oh yeah, I think that's a good bill. Why haven't you passed it? What is the roadblock? Will you talk to the person that is the roadblock? You know, if it's the industry, will you work with the industry and pin the industry down and get them to the table and make sure we've got something that you can vote on this year?
At 11:30, we are meeting with Sean Ryan. Sean is definitely on our side. The question when you go to visit with Sean is, how can he best help us? You know, what can he do to move things forward?
I know they don't want to put the money into the equipment, but if you look at
Assemblyman Ryan knows the value of surrendering the floor to his constituents. Buffalo General surgical technologist Dion Wallace spent 7 months on disability due to a shoulder injury sustained lifting patients.
I remember, I'm getting there.
Okay.
It takes time, you know, because
Yeah.
I did have surgery,
Right.
but I'm a young woman, and I have a lot of years to go before I can retire.
Right.
So it has been a strain on me, I mean, with being out.
My aunt is in a nursing home, and she's been there for years, and it was the pulling, let's get her out of bed, and can you come and help me because we don't have enough help, and you'd grab anybody walking by the hall, help get her up. They now have this machine where they put the belt on her and she smiles. They put it on her and she's a little crippled and she's MR and she can't move. She doesn't have any body strength and she doesn't cry anymore. She's not afraid that they're going to drop her. She's not going to get a skin tear. She's not going to get bruised.
You know, skeletal issues with an elderly person who doesn't have the ability to move as well, to use a machine is really an advantage, not only to us, but to the elderly who already have issues.
So that safe patient handling is good for the patient and good for the practitioner.
It's a win-win both ways.
Yes.
It's not a situation of hostility or friendliness. You go and you do what you have to do. In many cases, we're going to be meeting with the staffer as opposed to the senator or assembly person themselves.
And that's what happened when Terry Ligorski brought her group to Senator Patrick Gallivan's office.
We met Todd Aldinger, who is the legislative budget analyst for Senator Gallivan. I had met Mr. Aldinger previously. He is rather aloof. I'm sure he's very good at what he does, and he listened to us. I found him to be rather disconnected, and I think he lent us his ear. We certainly didn't have his heart. Body language would indicate that he wasn't particularly happy to see us there. Senator Gallivan is not a sponsor on the bill. However, Todd assured us that he would present our argument to the senator and ask him to sign on. Do I believe he was sincere? Not particularly.
So I want to thank you for taking the time.
For all workers, join hands.
For over a decade, Vanessa Quinn has heard all the anecdotes.
But I have to tell you, my dad was a shop steward for CWA.
The pep talks.
So what you have to do is you keep ringing their doorbell. Keep knocking on their door.
And the speeches.
And now we have to convince hospital administrators and hospital executives and hospital lobbying groups, particularly those from downstate, how important this bill is and how much money they could save through implementing safe patient handling. Because
it's a very long road, turning rhetoric into reality. Heading home, Vanessa has a message for those in control.
We'll see what happens. The good news is voting day is November.